What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwan.
And today we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. This question comes from Gerald Eder. He asks, how does the Adeptus Mechanicus actually recruit people as tech priests? So it is very family oriented. So if you come from a long line of tech priests, then more than likely you are going to be a tech priest once you're done with your education, I guess. But you're basically born into it. Think of them as like night houses. Where a tech priest family has been owners of a forge world, or even just like what are the individual forges called? The individual forges.
I was gonna say like Titanic or something.
Yeah, or that, yeah. But yeah, it's like if you have that manufactorum. So if your family has owned that manufactorum, then more than likely, like, you are of wealth, you are of knowledge, or you have the power to gain that knowledge, and then it's like church. You can't just be somebody from the underhive who wants to join in, because more than likely you'll just become a Scutari. Scutari are just soldiers.
A grunt.
Yeah, a grunt.
Now the thing about that is though, like how do they choose the next? What's it called? The main guy.
Oh, Fabricator General.
Fabricator General, yeah. Is that under like a lineage kind of thing, or?
A little bit. So there's the major houses within Mars elect the Fabricator General. But again, just like on Terra and the Ecclesiarchy, a lot of times there's a lot of backstabbing, assassinations, and that kind of stuff.
A lot of viruses being uploaded to your enemies.
Yep.
Here, take this Trojan. Do you accept these cookies?
Next question.
This one's by Martin Bloon. How school look like in 40K? Think of an anime high school show. It's just like that.
Just like that. With like really, what is it called? When they do like the faces and like the buggy eyes and stuff.
Very animated.
Yeah. More than likely it's like a standard military style boot camp thing. And it's from when you're born until you die for the Imperium.
Yeah, it's very disciplined, very rigid. It's like you wake up at 800 hours, you do to this class, you do that class, you have your lunch, you do your training, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And of course there's other positions. So it doesn't have to necessarily be an Imperial Guard, or you don't necessarily have to be enrolled into the Imperial Guard, but more than likely you will be fighting within the Imperial Guard. Because there is the Scolum Progenium, which is just for the people who are going to become Inquisitors, Sisters of Battle, all that kind of stuff. And that's also pretty harsh. They have these guys called Drill Abbots, who basically go around and make sure that you are worshiping the Emperor the way you're supposed to. And yeah.
It's all about the way you believe in yourself.
Basically.
Speaking of how you believe in yourself, Anime San has asked, will the hat ever come off during one of these videos?
Oh, there you go. I finally got tired of the long hair and I cut it.
You went from long hair, don't care, to short hair everywhere.
Everywhere. I'm still trying to let it grow out, but the problem was that before I had the sides shaved off. And it just looks weird if I just have the top. I look like Krusty the Clown. I still kind of look like Krusty the Clown. Next question comes from Anime Sam. Oh, no, you just read that.
I just did, boy.
Next question.
This one's by Bulgarian Riva. Does the Emperor's soul change from being fed souls? Like if you eat a steak every day for your entire life, does that change you into a cow?
I don't think it's the sacrifice of the Psychers. I think it is the worship, the veneration of the Emperor that's changing him.
Preach. I mean,
exactly.
Speak the imperial truth.
But yeah, and also you won't become a cow if you eat a lot of cheeseburgers. You'll just become fat.
Because you excrete. I'm hoping you do at least.
Next question comes from Gerald Biddle. Can I have an orc servitor, a tank style character, in my unorthodox inquisitorial posse? Lore wise, I mean, maybe I can't play it, but for my own storyline purposes, I appreciate the content. Peace. Yeah, of course. Inquisitors are cool because they're like at the highest rank of society in the Imperium. So if anybody tries to question the Inquisitor, it's going to be another Inquisitor, which has happened because there is Puritans and radicals, and the whole thing about Puritans and radicals. I'm talking about the Inquisition now.
Not the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
Yeah. What happens between them is that the radicals actually want to use chaos powers to fight chaos, whereas the Puritans believe that you should not use chaos, and that is just like an avenue where your mind will be corrupted. And it goes along the same lines of, like, I'm pretty sure there are some Inquisitors that believe that using Xeno like bodies or technology is heresy. But then there's other ones that are like, no, we need to use them because that's how we're gonna fight them. A perfect example of that is what's to do with the Tyranids? What's his name? Inquisitor.
Inquisitor
Delac. No.
Yeah, I don't. I know what you're talking about, and I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So do it.
There's an Inquisitor who stole was experimenting on Tyranids and gene stealers, and then came up with the idea, hey, let's throw the gene stealer brood into where is it?
The Octavius.
The Octavius sector, and then let's see what happens. Well, the Tyranids went into the Octavius sector and they created a huge war, and it seemed good until the orcs got reinforcement, and now it's just like this epic battle where whoever ends up winning is just going to be an even bigger threat than they were before. So the Imperium kind of got screwed over by that Inquisitor. But again, it goes to show you that yes, you can have an orc servitor, because that Inquisitor would just be looked at as a radical Inquisitor, and the only person that can stop him is another Inquisitor. But history has showed us that he doesn't get stopped.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, let's fight fire with fire, and you create an even bigger fire. But I mean, at least you're taking care of one of those fires, right? Right.
Yeah.
Because one big fire isn't as bad as two mediocre-sized fires in those radicals' eyes. But I mean, for this time, they're at least being held, like,
in check by the.
Yeah, they're checking each other.
Yeah. Oh, and also a long time ago when we first started playing, and when like forums on Daka Daka were pretty cool, there was a fan story of an orc that degraded because he wasn't fighting, so he degraded to like an Ogren. And he became.
I remember that.
And it kind of makes sense. So I guess you could say that he was an orc. This servitor orc was an orc, but like because he doesn't really fight, and you took out that piece of the brain that's like aggressive, then he slowly just like lost all of his pigment and slowly became tan and looks like an Ogren. So he passes off as an Ogren servitor, when in reality he's an orc servitor. If you want to go at it a different way.
That's just weird in my opinion, but hey, it's 40K.
Yeah.
This one is by Lone Goat 81. Why does GW reuse names or use similar names so much, such as there being 2 wars in heaven? The Thunder Warriors being a legion overseen by Primarchs, Primaris Psychers, and then actual Primaris. And there's just so much. Raven Guard, Death Guard, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Luna Wolves, Space Wolves, Iron Warriors, Iron Hands. Too many similarities everywhere.
Because they sound cool. Have you ever tried to create like your own Space Marine chapter? You end up creating something that's very similar to something that already exists.
Yeah.
For me, like the longest time I wanted to create something like the Legion of the Damned, but then I realized, no, this is just the Legion of the Damned with a different name. It's tough.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're under the same rulership, it's easier, I guess, to use similar sounding names and stuff like that. Because then, like, let's say if for some reason the Imperium had a unit of Space Marine called, like, the Fire Warriors, it's like, oh, the Tau already have the Fire Warriors. And that's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially when you're trying to buy things and you type in Fire Warriors and you get Tau, but you really want Space Marines. And it's just an easier way to section off things.
Finally, I sneezed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it also ties back to like Catholic and like old school like Roman ways of naming things, and they did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of reused the same phrases. The venerable, the honorable, the blood angels, the blood ravens,
The
Raven
angels of
Guards.
blood.
Yeah.
The sanguine
Yeah.
angels, yeah.
They're just changing the name a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Miguelito, small Miguel.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing.
all the same thing. Next question comes from
Dustin Stillwell. Why does Conrad Curze hate the Emperor so? And how does this hatred fuel him to fall to heresy? So, Conrad Curze, he's a very... he's an individual that has fallen to despair. And more so because he can see the future. He was getting visions and nightmares of a desolate future with no hope, everything burning, and it was all because of the Emperor. So how would you feel if you saw your future and no matter what you did, no matter what changes you tried to make, you always saw the same vision of the same future happening?
of your dad killing you.
Yeah, pretty much. And not just you, it's like the entire human race. It's like, yeah, you'd feel resentment. And I guess out of spite, you'd turn to this chaos that your father is trying to stop.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense as to why he's doing these things. But it's like no matter what he does, like it's the same future. So it's like, just kill me now, assassin. Because no matter what you do, no matter what happens to me, it's all going to fall into place.
Yeah. Now we can go a little further and talk about the like whether those visions were true or not, or whether they were self-fulfilling prophecies. But that's for another video.
Yeah. Or is it?
Next question comes from Erza Swan. Why can only Imperium create types of hyper-powered warp entities such as the Emperor, but other races have trouble with this? Is this the only favoritism, or is it just something else?
Oh, no. I'll tell you the biggest thing that was created from the warp, Slanesh.
Yep.
That was all 100% because of the decadence and
Sexualized.
of the elder race. Because when you've hit your golden peak, it's just all excess. And that excess has to go somewhere, and it went into the warp, and it became Slanesh.
Yep. And the Eldar did that like on accident.
Mm-hmm.
They're just partying, and then all of a sudden, it exploded.
It's like half your buddies are passed out, and their souls are being eaten, and you're just like, whoa, man, give me till morning to take care of this.
And then they did it again with the birth of what's his name? Yeah. So no, it's not hard for other races to create them because they're just as psychically powerful. Gorka Mork, those guys appeared because of the orcs,
Right.
and like not even all the orcs really care about it. They just kind of brush it off.
Yeah, one's brutally cunning, the other one's cunningly brutal. Who's who? It doesn't matter. Let's just fight.
There's no priests or anything in the orc world. Yeah, so it's happening all around us because of the effects of the war.
Right, and it's not just these huge things. There's also minor chaos gods that also feed off of other sentient beings. So it's just the ones that are thrown in our face that are obviously more prevalent.
Right. Like Jesus is out there.
Hi.
Last question, what you got?
We kind of already touched base on this, but just really quick. How smart is the average Imperial citizen? Letter N asks.
Not that, well, he's smart enough to shoot a gun, which you don't have to be that smart to shoot a gun.
But I'm pretty sure, like, if a farmer saw a gun for the first time, like, would he really know how to use it and how to clean it, how to aim properly and all that?
Right, so I guess then they would be very specialized in the intelligence that they have.
Right.
They're not like us, where we know like the catalog of all of Bridget B's movies, but
Right.
we also know about, like, you know, what is it? The powerhouse of the cell.
Mitochondria.
Yeah. So
Golgi bodies.
we know things. We know very little about a lot of things,
And it's
whereas
just
those guys know a lot about
right.
one.
And it's because like the internet is readily available to most people, at least in the U.S. Obviously, depending on the planets that the Imperial citizens are on, their focus may not be on being vastly intellectual. You may just be a menial worker at a hive city where it doesn't matter if you knew all of the backlogs of Bridget Bees' videos and how long each scene lasts. That's for me to know.
Yeah.
These Imperial citizens just need to know how to do their job, and that's it.
Yep.
It's a sad, sad world.
I know. Bridget B's probably not around.
Tisk, tisk.
And those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question. Don't forget to hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of good stuff.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Gershwin.
Sound Alchemist, a.k.a. Darth Alchemist. Signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never had that much to lose.